Yeah, it's me again. Another morning. I have to go on a special emergency pool maintenance trip. Whatever. Anyway, but lovely day. Lovely. Anyway, I think I'm forgetting something, but whatever. It's always like that, you know. Forgetting something, ideas in your head. Let's see. Well, anyway, doesn't matter. On to the videos. Watched a few this morning. Let's start with the Hugs Now guy. Hug Now. We're just kind of chalking it all up to misunderstanding. Yeah, he has really poor communication skills. I mean, he's really good at talking. And he seems reasonable in most cases, but he just says things and, it's just not going to work that way. He leaves too much room for people to misinterpret. Maybe he should say things more than one way, and that way explain himself better. But whatever. So that problem is apparently resolved. We fundamentally agree. We're just disagreeing over attitude and approach, or something like that. But anyway, Professor Anton, surprising video. Very hostile, because I don't even get it. I mean, I don't think we disagree on the Helen Keller story. I mean, at least not the first 3/4 of his video. I mean, until he gets to the part where he claims language is required for there to be consciousness or something. Well, that's going way too far. But yeah, I mean, I know the story. I mean, I read the biography when I was a kid, and I've seen all the movies, so it's clear to me. I don't think it's disputable that I said it in my video, that there was a moment where she realized that all that hand jive crap were labels, that things had a name, and that's what made the difference for her, is this idea that you could label things, and that's all vocabulary allows us to do. And the reason why she didn't have labels the reason why it wasn't just a matter of translating her language into somebody else's language, is because she was deaf and dumb. I mean, she was blind and couldn't hear. Two of the senses we rely on to make distinctions between things. Everything gets really blurry. Close your eyes, and it's really blurry then. And then turn off your ears, and everything gets really blurry. Okay? But our eyes automatically focus. I mean, this is part of what enables us to label. Somebody in the comments, Perry Urban, who I like, but he needed to talk on a bit, was sort of implying that without language, I wouldn't be able to tell that leaf from that leaf. And that's a pile of shit. I don't need language to understand the concept of leaf. I think a bird understands it. I think a dog, a cat, most mammals know the concept. They don't have a word for it. They can't just, speak blah and say that's the word for leaf, but they have it in their brain as a concept. They know it. Obviously, if they are blind and incapable of hearing, they're not going to be able to know leaf very well, very intimately. The concept of it's going to get lost. But anyway, like I said, that was just a labeling flaw. That was sort of the interest of the Helen Keller story, is the fact that she didn't have, like I said, it wasn't a matter of just translating. It was a matter of creating the concept of concept, because she didn't have the natural faculty. So anyway. Who else? I did take notes. Oh, conference board guy. That's always a good one. Snorty woman jogging down the street. Snorty woman. Blah, 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 blah. That was kind of funny. Anyway, very attractive. Snorting women. Anyway. But yeah, I really like the Helen Keller thing. I mean, it's a great story. I mean, it's a great mental, it's a great arena for the mind to be thinking. But to exaggerate what took place and claim that it was more than when it was. I think is no small point in that, obviously. I think, Professor, I think you exaggerate. I think you talk into what took place, some justification for some idea that, I don't even know what your idea is. Again, your God is so undefined. This speciality that we're engaged in. We're not doing anything special. We're just doing it the way it should be done, the way it can be done. And other organisms don't do it this way for the obvious reason. What's the use of it? What's the practical evolutionary use of high intelligence? It just makes you less and less survivable, not more survivable. It makes you more cautious and more incapable of doing what survival will require in a dog-eat-dog world. So of course there's not even a prohibition against it, but there's no reason for nature to go there. It doesn't need to waste resources on thinking about ballet. That neurological time consumed is totally disadvantageous to your continued existence. Animals have to be focused on what is required for them to survive, and they don't need a million words to do that. They don't need a complex language to do that. They don't need complex conceptions of the universe to do that. What they need is long claws and sharp teeth and a harsh willingness to use them without thinking about it, without thinking about the consequences or mercy or any of that other shit that higher intelligences are automatically going to see as obvious and apparent. So anyway, and that's why we are special, is because we broke the rule. And as I stated, it's really important for people to understand, we did not gain our capacity as intelligences, our potential, incrementally. We gained it. We got one little tiny, it's like we picked up, one rock, and on that rock was a statement saying, we own all rocks. I mean, it was just a weird circumstance that we had a change in our biological function, and that change made it possible 10,000 years later for us to invent the automobile, or the talking machine, or the nuclear bomb. And that's the story of it. This doesn't happen often. And so it wasn't 10,000 years; it was 100,000 years later. But anyway, and so we should appreciate that. That's why it doesn't exist in all these other creatures. Is that it's a very strange and bizarre rearrangement of psychology, and as long as it didn't hurt us, apparently, to have that extra potential. But animals are rarely given something that they don't use for 100,000 years effectively. That just doesn't happen. So we're an aberrant, and that's why there's only humans doing this communicating, talking thing, because the other brains aren't built for it. And it might not take much of a change to make them capable of it. Like I said, it might be realistically possible in the near future to subtly augment an ape brain and make them capable of learning enough words to have a language, a conceptual language, and they will be able to communicate with us like Helen Keller, and even better than Helen Keller, because they still see and they can still hear. They'll just be mute. They won't be able to vocalize like we do, but they'll be able to communicate. Because it's just a subtle change. It's not a dramatic change that makes us human. Makes the human brain human capable, whatever the right word would be. Concept, broad, not arbitrary. oh, you know, that word for not quite real, abstract thought. So anyway, let's see what else. Whew. Yeah, Pyro did a couple of videos. It's good to see him reducing the filters. I appreciate that. Videos are more watchable, but the subject matter really was, you know, I didn't watch all of his videos, I have to admit. But yeah, you did talk a little about language just being, you know, nothing special. No problem.
How you doing?
I'm breathing. And what else? Running Girl. Yeah, I have that movie. Running Girl.